this here. Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about basically mainly about setbacks and how we can reignite that motivation and that passion and excitement around our goals or around just daily things that we need to get done, right? So I'm curious, have you ever started something with so much motivation only to feel like that motivation just disappeared overnight? I know I've been there, and I'm pretty sure everyone's been there. Uh, and basically, tonight I'm going to be sharing that we all go through that, right? We all go through those moments where our motivation is so high, and then boom, just like that, one little thing can happen, or we get distracted by something else, and then next thing you know, that motivation is gone, right? Nika said setbacks and how we can reignite our passions. Great topics, and yes, I experience this often. Yup. So, I'm just here to remind everyone we're not lazy, we're not inconsistent. Sometimes we're just relying on something that's meant to fade. Motivation is not something that's meant to last. It's not meant for it to be everlasting, right? Motivation is something that is useful for us to use to push us to make decisions, to push us to start something. It's not necessarily something that stays, right? Nika said, girl, yes, this happens with me. Yup. Yup. Been there. So basically, again, we're going to be talking about motivation and how it can fade, right? And what do we do to keep that spark going? What do we do to reignite that passion? What do we do when that motivation fades, right? So this is a continuation from last week's topic. We talked a little bit about that. We started talking a little bit about that last week, and I really wanted to solidify those topics today. So again, we've all been there. That rush of excitement that we get when we start a new goal, a new routine, or a new project. Hey, Austin, welcome in. The first few days of starting out that new project, starting out that new goal or routine, those first few days always feel so good, right? It always feels, hey, Bryce, Connie. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Hajara? Let me know if that's wrong. So y'all, I got TikTok on and I have YouTube. So if my eyes kind of go back and forth, that's what's going on. So again, those first few days that we set a new goal, set a new routine or a new project, it tends to feel really good, right? But then life starts to happen. Work, stress, we start comparing. And then suddenly that spark that we had initially is gone. That's when that self-doubt starts creeping in. So you start doubting yourself. You start wondering if you're just not cut out for it. But if the problem isn't you, right? What if it's the motivation was just never meant to carry you the whole way, right? And that's what I want to solidify with you guys, right? Motivation is not something that's meant to carry you the whole way through your goal, the whole way through your routine, the whole way through the new project that you're starting out. It's what's going to help you. It's like that spark, that initial thing that pushes you to start taking action. Nika said, yes, it always feels amazing at first. We're on a roll. Yep. Thank you so much for sharing the live, Nika. Hey, Jovi. Jovi just joined in on YouTube. Thank you, Jovi. Okay. So basically today, as usual, I'm going to break up this topic into 3 parts. So the first part, we're going to be talking about why motivation tends to fade for us. The second part, we're going to be talking about the role that resilience plays. And then part 3, we're going to be talking about reigniting passion when you feel stuck. Thank you, Nika. That's awesome. Jovi, Nika said hi from TikTok. She says she's going to join YouTube from her laptop. So you'll see her in a little bit. Okay. So part 1, why motivation fades. And we talked a little bit about this last week, but I kind of wanted to bring it back around this week. Now that we have a little bit of understanding behind motivation and how it works, I wanted to kind of solidify it this time as well, right? So again, motivation is an emotional energy, right? Hey, Joey, thank you for coming. Hey, Danny, thank you for joining today. So again, motivation is an emotional energy. So it's like a spark, not necessarily a power source, right? So if you think about electricity, when you see a spark, it's something that happens for a very short amount of time, and then that energy is dissipated, right? It's gone. But a power source is something that is always having energy. It has energy stored. It has energy that you can recharge with. It has energy that is just sitting. So it's a constant power source, right? So motivation is kind of like a spark, right? So you see it and you feel it and it's very potent, but it doesn't stay forever, right? So it naturally starts to fluctuate with like your mood, your energy levels, and the environment, right? Thank you, Joey, for sharing the live. Hey, Nika on YouTube. Aw, that's so cool to see you on both. Thank you. Okay, so again, most people mistake the dip in motivation that you feel for like a lack of discipline, when in reality, it's just part of the cycle. So when we set a goal, when we set an intention, when we, shoot for a new project or want to create a new routine for ourselves, a lot of times our motivation is like up here when you start it out, right? And then all of a sudden that motivation starts dipping down, dipping down, dipping down. And then you start being hard on yourself, right? You start second guessing yourself. You start saying, oh, well, I need to be more disciplined, or I'm being lazy right now, right? And that's not necessarily the case. It's just part of the cycle. You start with really high notes of motivation and that spark, but then eventually you're going to have to create a system to keep that going rather than just letting it go down with your motivation, right? So you can't build a long-term system on something that's temporary. So when motivation starts to fade, that's your cue to start shifting from emotion to intention. That's when you have to go from the ideas, from the emotions, from the excitement, from the spark, to now I have to put this into action. Now I have to create a plan to actually get to the end goal, right? Because if you don't do that, as soon as your motivation fades, you're going to stop and you're going to walk away, right? Thank you, Mike. See, Nika said, ooh, love that. We cannot build a system on temporary feelings. You are so right. Hey, James. Thank you for coming in. Yep, Nika said, yes, I agree. A system is important. Okay, so I want you to think of motivation like a fire, right? That spark lights it, right? But it's the wood, it's the structure, it's the routines that you create, it's the purpose behind that goal that keeps it burning, right? So again, I want you to think of it. Sometimes when we put something like a physical idea or an image in our mind of what it represents, it's a little bit easier to put it into practice, right? Thank you, Nika. Nika said, that's a great illustration. We have to keep the spark lit. Exactly. So again, the spark is the first thing. It's like the initial instance, right? But you got to figure out, how do I keep this fire burning, right? And again, it comes with your structure, your routines. It's the purpose behind it. Why did you start this goal? Why did you want to change your routine, right? Because those are the things that you can go back to when that motivation is fading. You can remind yourself, oh, this is why I set this goal, or this is the reason why I try so hard. Jovi said, yes, that's good. Temporary feelings because your girl be manic sometimes. Yup. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. Nika said, Jovi, ADHD, you already know. Yes. ADHD, it'd be like that, but we got this. We got this. Okay. Now, when we expect that constant motivation, we set ourselves up for guilt, right? But when we expect those cycles, we can plan for them. So a lot of times, we end up letting motivation fade because we start being hard on ourselves. We start feeling that guilty feeling that we get. And then that guilt kind of, it's almost like a self-sabotage, right? So you're like, see, I knew I couldn't do it. See, I knew I wasn't good enough for this. Like, you start getting all these weird thoughts. You start feeling guilty for not waking up in the morning, or not waking up early enough, or not doing enough during the day, or not spending enough time with the people that you love, right? So there's all these different things depending on your goal, depending on what you're aiming for. You start feeling guilty because that motivation is fading and you just don't have that spark anymore, right? But again, if you know about the cycle, right? And if you know that, yes, at some point, my spark is going to be lit, but then it's going to start fading. That motivation is going to start fading. If you know that, then you can plan for that, right? Guillotine, that's crazy. Okay. Yeah. Nika said, mine has been horrible lately. Yeah. Jovi said, right, self-sabotage. Yup. Okay. So we're going to go to part 2. Has everyone understood part 1 pretty well? So again, why motivation fades. So before I move on, I know Nika is crazy. I don't really know how to like get people that are making crazy comments out of here. Let me see. Okay, I just learned how to do it. There we go. Yeah, because we don't got no need for that. Okay. Anyways, thank you guys for staying on though. Part 1 understood. You need mods, yeah. It's all good. I'm getting used to it. I mean, at least it is what it is. You know, there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna come in here. See how you just figured that out very quick, very no nonsense, very don't try it. Yes. Period. Okay. So I want to give you a mini example before I go on to part 2. So an example for me personally is that sometimes, and this is something that Nika, who her name on here is Astrology Source, so definitely subscribe for her to her content. She has really good content and she's a good friend of mine. So anyways, sometimes I used to wait until I felt like ready to create content, right? But sometimes that feeling doesn't show up. Hello? Have you been there? Yes. Sometimes you just don't feel like, smiling for the camera or, saying something positive, because sometimes you're just drained, right? Because I have my regular full-time job that I do outside of this. So sometimes when I come home, I don't feel super like excited to share affirmations with people, right? So again, you have to find a rhythm. You have to build a system that works for you, right? So I know the days that I tend to have more energy, and I know the days that are going to be super busy for me, right? So on the days that I know are like less energy consuming, those are the days that I'll film something. Those are the days that I'll take time and I'll come on here and I'll share with you guys, and we can exchange good conversation, motivation and things like that, because I don't want to come in here and talk to you guys and be at like a level 10, right? Like, that's not fair for you guys. That's not fun. Like, not at all, right? So I started creating a system, like even small steps like recording every Tuesday. I stopped depending on the hype, right? And I started depending on my structure. And at the end of the day, the people that don't align with my structure is okay, as long as I'm building like some type of community, right? With the structure that I've set up, then that's the right one for me. Nika said, thank you, beautiful, much gratitude. Of course. Okay. So again, when the spark fades, instead of quitting, that's your invitation to build momentum, right? So now we're going to go into resilience, because we can use resilience to build that momentum, right? So part 2 is the role of resilience. So again, resilience isn't about never falling off. It's about how quickly you can get back on, right? So when I think of resilient, I think of someone that continues to try no matter what, right? What comes to mind for you when you think about resilience? I'm gonna give you a second there. Not giving up. Yep. I love that. Persistence. Yes. Hey, Tanishka. I didn't see you come in. Thank you for coming. Tanishka said on TikTok, by the way, y'all. Someone who keeps going no matter how many times they fail. Let me move this comment section. Okay, now it's better. I love that. So that's perfect. So now that we have, oh, Chi-Chi's on YouTube. Hey, Chi-Chi. Okay, she said, all the strong women in my life. Ooh, I love that. Okay. So now that we have a little bit of a baseline, so we know that resilience is persistence. We know that resilience is someone who keeps going no matter how many times they fail. We know resilience is not giving up. And we know resilience is all those strong people, whether it's the women in our lives, the men in our lives, that are strong, right? Okay, so now that we've kind of built a little bit of a how do you say this? A definition for resilience. Again, resilience is not necessarily like a personality trait. It's more like a muscle, right? So it's something that we've been building our whole life. So it's something that we've built through like setbacks that we've been through. It's something that we've built through hard times, right? So every I don't know how, but I made it moment, right? I don't know how I did this, but I made it through, right? How many of you guys in the comments have had a moment in your life where you said, I don't know how I got through it, but I got through it, right? Hello. So let me know if y'all feel that. I don't know how, but I made it through. And when you think about that moment or those moments, right? Because sometimes it's a lot. Those are the moments that kind of reinforce your resilience. Like that's like your proof to yourself. Like, oh, yeah, I know what resilience is. I've used that. I've been there, right? So, yes, ma'am. Yes, exactly. So every challenge that you've overcome is proof that you already know how to bounce back. You've done it before and you can do it again, right? So again, adversity is not something that is going to block your growth. It just kind of deepens it, right? So whenever we've had a setback or whenever we've had a hard time where we made it through, right? We don't know how, but we made it through. Those moments tend to make us stronger. They tend to kind of, again, give us that like, what do you call this word? ADHD. It's almost like we have a file, right? Sorry, I'm thinking, just let's go with it. So it's almost like you have a filing cabinet, right? And it's labeled setbacks or it's labeled resilience. And then you open that and that file folder just keeps going, kind of like in the movies or in cartoons where the file folder just keeps opening and opening and opening and opening, right? So like you have all these setbacks and all these moments in your life where resilience has shown you through, and sometimes it could be small and sometimes it's really big moments, right? So sometimes you can find a folder that's super thick and then you find a folder that's super thin, right? So I don't know why, but that imagery came in my mind. Probably because I work in an office and I have a lot of file folders. But anyways, so yeah, sometimes if you think about all the evidence that you've built and all the evidence that you have showing and proving to yourself that yes, I have this. Yes, I got this. I have resilience. I am resilient, right? Hey, Octavia, thank you for coming in. We're just talking about motivation and when it starts to fade and what it means to use your resilience to help you in those moments. Because at the end of the day, motivation is like a spark, right? So it's like something initial that we feel excitement and we feel so energized and we're so ready. But at some point that motivation is going to start to fade, right? As time goes by, as setbacks start coming, as distractions start showing up, that motivation is going to start to fade. And the things that we need to do to kind of tackle that is to start building a system, right? Is to build some sort of routine or some sort of evidence to show yourself, no, I got this. Like regardless of how motivation fades, I'm going to get through. And one of those is using resilience, right? Just understanding that every challenge that you overcome is proof that you already know how to bounce back. You already know how to do it. You've been there, you've done it, right? So you can do it again. And again, adversity is not going to block your growth. It's something that deepens it. It gives you success. It gives you like roots, so you can root yourself to that success, so you can root yourself to that goal that you have, so you can get through it. Thank you guys so much for liking the live. I appreciate it. And again, instead of asking, sometimes we get into this mindset when we get a setback or when we feel like we're failing, we go into this mindset of, why is this happening to me, right? Why me? Why didn't it work out? Why is this happening to me? And I just want you to start, instead of asking that, I want you to ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to teach or strengthen in me, right? Is this trying to teach me something? Is this trying to strengthen something in me, right? Start thinking about that. Instead of thinking about, why is this happening to me? Why isn't this working out? Why isn't this going the way I planned? Start asking yourself, what is this trying to teach? What is this trying to strengthen in me? Because a lot of the times we have everything that we need, but sometimes we fail because we need to see the outcome of something, so then we can make a shift and try again in a different way, right? Oh, what is this? I love that. Oh my God, that was so beautiful, Jovi. Thank you so much. Sorry, y'all. I just looked at the TikTok window and I had like butterfly wings. It was so pretty. To YouTube, I just looked a little crazy. Sorry, YouTube. Okay. So again, I want you to kind of think back. You know how we talked about the big filing cabinet that we pull out to see all the evidence that we've built resilience in our life. All the moments that we've said, I don't know how, but I made it through, right? I want you to think to that moment, and I want you to think of one challenge that made you stronger in the end. Again, I want you to think of one challenge that has made you stronger in the end. Thank you, Octavia, for following. Hey, Mama Bendición. No te preocupes. Thank you for coming. So I want you to think of one challenge that made you stronger. Or one moment in your life where you said, I don't know how, but I made it through. I don't know why I wasn't already. It's all good. It'd be like that sometimes. It's because we follow each other on like the personal account too. So it'd be like that. But thank you. I appreciate it. So again, I want you to think about one challenge that made you stronger in the end. Or think about something that, a situation that you went through that you said, I don't know how, but I made it through. So just let me know a time or a setback where you said, I don't know how, but I made it through. Mama said when I was going through my divorce. Yup. Oh my God, Nika. Yeah, back in 2020, made it through. Yup. Yep. So those are really big moments, right? That you guys made it through. So the reason why I ask, and I love that you just said that, Ma, I came out stronger. Exactly. I want you to think about whatever goal, whatever routine you're trying to set, whatever you have in mind. Kiara said breakups and divorces always come to mind. Yeah, it's a huge one. Mama said, or Nika said, I know that's right. Yup. So again, the reason why I asked for you guys to share is because I want you to see that we've all been in a moment in our lives where we said, how the heck did I make it through this? But you made it through, right? So we all have, hey, abuela, Octavia said, I feel like I've never had the opportunity to not be resilient. Oof. I love that. I love that because I resonate with that so much. And it's funny because Octavia is my twin. Yeah. She's my twin. Let's see. She said, my saving grace has always been trying to see the lesson, so I agree with you 100%. Yes. Nika said that's so deep. Yup. Yeah, so basically, I want you guys to look at all that evidence, all those moments in your life where you were like, holy crap, I don't know how, but I made it through. Those are the moments that I want you to think about when you're trying to finish a goal, when you're trying to set a goal in the first place, right? When you're trying to change up a routine, when you're trying to start a new project. I want you guys to go back to those moments where you made it through even though you didn't think you would. Those are the moments that could fuel you. Those are the moments that'll push you through for you to get those goals figured out, for you to get that routine figured out, right? So those are the moments that I want you to lean into when you have those setbacks and when you have those hard moments in your life, because you've done it before, so you can definitely, you're well equipped to do it again. So again, when you start seeing those challenges, I want you to start seeing them as growth instead of seeing them as signs for you to stop trying or for you to quit, right? That's when you move from surviving to reigniting yourself. So the whole point is for you to stop living in this survival mode where you're like, oh my God, I gotta do this, and if it doesn't work, I'm quitting, and if it doesn't work, next, and if it doesn't work, next, right? I want you to start really thinking about it and really trying. I don't want you to live in a state of like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. I want you to live in a state where you're reigniting yourself constantly. Because at the end of the day, that's what we have to do. Like, goals and routines and projects that we set for ourselves, they're not always going to be pretty. They're not always going to be fun. But it doesn't mean that it's not something that you need to do, right? It doesn't mean that it's not something that's going to help you be more successful. So instead of going through those moments and being in that like victim surviving mentality, I want you to reignite the passion. I want you to reignite the reason why you started doing it in the first place, right? And that leads me to part 3. So part 3 is reigniting the passion when you start to feel stuck. How are you guys doing so far? Am I moving too quickly through it, or is everything making sense? Thank you guys so much for liking the live. I appreciate it. I love having everyone here. It's so much more fun. Thank you guys so much. Okay. So, thank you, Nika. Okay, yes. Part 3, reigniting passion when you feel stuck, right? So, can we all say that we've felt stuck in certain situations, whether that's work, drama, whether that's, life in general, whether that's, you feel stuck, like you set a goal and you haven't moved, like you have done nothing for it, right? So this could be any type of goal. I'm going to give you an example of a goal that's always been hard for me for a long time. And that's my like physical exercise, right? So I will start exercising and then I'll hit a point where I'm like, I'll see progress and then I'm like, okay, I'm good. That's it. No, like you gotta keep going, girl, right? So again, it's like reigniting that passion when you start to feel stuck or when you start to feel comfortable, right? Octavia, you don't need to laugh at me, okay? I'm just playing. But yeah, like we've all been there where we have a goal and like we've been doing it, we've been doing good, and then all of a sudden that motivation fades and then we're like, oh, we're stuck halfway. And then sometimes we quit at that moment, or sometimes we say, no, I got to reignite this passion. I got to reignite it. We got to get it moving again, right? So today, for this part, I want to focus on how do we reignite that passion when you get to that point in your goal, or when you get to that point in your routine, whatever it is that you're thinking about in this moment, that you start feeling stuck, right? Okay. So again, when you lose motivation, I don't want you to chase the old feeling, right? I don't want you to chase the feeling that you got from motivation, because that's the spark, right? So once you have that spark of motivation, that feeling is so amazing and so exciting, but that's going to fade. So I don't want you to chase the feeling, because at the end of the day, it's just a feeling. I want you to reconnect with your why. Reconnect with the reason behind that goal. Why did you want to do it? What's the purpose behind it, right? Octavia said, that's why I started making commitments from now on, trying to keep myself accountable. I love that. I love that. I'd be doing that for myself in like alarms, especially at work, because there's a lot going on at work at once. So I have to multitask, and sometimes that's very hard. So I have to keep myself like, don't forget about X, Y, and Z, right? So I have alarms, and they'll ring, and of course I have coworkers around me. So they'll be like, oh, what was that alarm? I'm like, it was this. I'm gonna do it. Don't worry. Nika said, tip from Karina. That's me. Don't chase the feeling, reconnect with your why. Yes, thank you so much, Nika. That's so good, Octavia, same. Yep. Okay. So again, when you lose that motivation, I don't want you to chase the old feeling. I want you to reconnect with your why. Why did you start this goal? Why did you want to change your routine? Why did you want to start a new project? Who did you want to become, right? Another very important thing that I love to talk about is visualization. Like, when you think about a goal that you're trying to get to, when you think of the person you want to be at the end of that goal, what do you envision, right? Who do you want to become? Like, what do you see at the end goal? So for me specifically, since I already talked to you guys about my fitness goal, I can sit, close my eyes, and picture who is the Karina that you want to see at the end of this fitness journey. And when I say end, I'm not saying I'm never working out again once I reach it. No, we're not doing that, Karina. We're going to keep going, right? Because I want to maintain it, right? But anyways, I just wanted to clarify that. So I want to see the end goal. What am I trying to work towards? What does my body look like when I get there, right? What does my eating habits look like when I get there? What does my energy level look like when I get there? Am I smiling? Am I happy? Am I energetic? Right? I want you to think about all these things, because your brain doesn't know the difference between real life and visualization. So when you start picturing yourself in your mind, and you start picturing yourself, I'm happy, I'm strong, I'm energized, I'm the size I want to be. I'm not going to say it, because y'all, it's none of y'all's business about what size I'm trying to get to. But anyways, so visualization is such a good tool to use to build that passion and reignite that excitement right behind the goal that you have. I know, Octavia, it comes natural to me, but I didn't realize that this was not like a normal thing until I started asking people, oh yeah, like I just pictured it, da 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 da. Like sometimes my brain is almost like a movie playing, and I don't know, sometimes it's like cartoons, sometimes it's real life, but it's like I constantly have images in my head about things that are going on. Octavia said, I can't help but visualize, head always in the clouds. I like how you worded that, right? Yep. Yeah, I don't know why I think like that. I think in images, I think in pictures, I see things. But I think that's so powerful sometimes, because it really keeps me motivated. It keeps me going, because I'm like, oh yes, I like that. I like that, Karina. You know, I like that she looks confident. I like that she looks at herself in the mirror and she's like, period, right? That's what if I'm seeing that and I'm picturing that, it's so much easier for me to work towards it, because I've already seen the end, right? Jovi said, visionary, manifesting. Oh, yep. And then Octavia said to Jovi, you too, Jovi, just celestial. Yes, I love that. Yeah, Jovi. She definitely. And I love how you added dreamer, because that's a good one too. Okay. So What excited me when I first started this journey, and what did I want to feel? So this is something that I want you to ask yourself when you get to those moments where you feel stuck, when you get to those moments where motivation has faded, right? I want you to ask yourself, what excited me when I first started this journey? Like, what did I want to feel, right? So this is something that's so important because, and let's say that you can't think of it off the top of your head. You have to write this down. Write it down, right? This is something that's so important, and you can use this strategy for so many other things in your life, right? So if you're chasing a goal, if you're wanting to redo your whole routine, if you're wanting to start a new project, whether that's home, whether that's work project, whether that's a personal project, right? And you start feeling like, ugh, I don't know if I want to do this, or my motivation is gone. Ask yourself, what excited me when I first started this? Why did I want to start it in the first place? And then what did I want to feel? Because at the end of the day, yes, we're chasing a goal, but we're also chasing the feeling that we get when we achieve that goal, right? So when we finally achieve that thing that we've been working for, it feels so good, right? So of course you're chasing, yes, making that goal happen, but you're also chasing like that feeling. So sometimes reminding yourself of what you'll get, not only physically, but emotionally, like how are you going to feel when you finally get there, right? That's why when I said the visualization, I'm picturing myself physically, but I'm also seeing, like, am I smiling? Do I look energized? Do I look confident? Because at the end of the day, that's what I want to feel. I want to feel energized. I want to feel confident, right? I want to feel like, yes, you it, right? That's what I want to feel. So when I visualize it, that's what I see. Not just the vision, but the feeling behind it. And again, sometimes, when we're working on those goals and we're starting a journey towards a new thing, the passion fades when it's all pressure and no play, right? So I want you to bring fun back into the process. And when I say fun, I'll give you an example again. Again, this is my fitness journey, y'all, okay? I have tried, home videos. I've tried, what's it, P90X. I've tried the, Mama, do you remember the name of the other workout video that I used to do? Oh, God, what is it called? I don't remember, but it was another one. And then there was P90X is a throwback. I know. It's been a long time, okay? I've been trying for a long time, Jovi. Oh yeah, Sean T. I don't know if y'all remember his workout videos from Beachbody. Yep. Thank you so much, Mama. I knew you would remember. But anyways, I would do those. And then I did, what was the other workout? It's the one that you work like in a warehouse. You do warehouse workouts. CrossFit. I did CrossFit. So again, like I tried to do these things that I connected to fun, and those were the times where I was most consistent, when something wasn't boring me. But like if I would try the gym, bruh, I would go for like a week, and then I'm like, oh, I don't have time to go to the gym. Why? Because I noticed with me, for it to stick, if I have to like leave my house and drive somewhere and then go work out and then have to drive back and then finally relax, I'm like, that's too long. I've already been at work. Like, I'm not trying to drive 20 minutes, exercise for an hour, and come back another 20 minutes. Now I've been gone almost 2 hours. I can't cook at this point because it's now 8 p.m. when I got home, right? So now I have to buy food, which is not necessarily healthy for you. So I decided, I'm like, let me try something virtual again, right? So I started off with like a regular virtual exercise routine, blah, blah, blah. And then I got bored. So then I found, this is my newest one, okay? It's called Naughty Girl Fitness. And I love it so much because it has like the cute, like sexy, cute dances. But then it has like mindfulness, and then it has yoga, and it has full body stretches, and it has, it has everything that I love, because I love yoga. I love dance. I like cardio, right? So it's like a combination. You can pick what type of exercise you want to do for the day and the length of it, right? So they have shorter exercises that are like 15 minutes long, and then they have longer ones that are 45 minutes long, and everything in between. So anyways, this is not a paid ad. Nobody asked me for this information. I'm just letting y'all know that's what's worked for me. And this is how I decided I wanted to add like a funness to this. I didn't want it to feel like another to-do list. I didn't want it to feel like another task, something else that I needed to do that week, right? So I decided to go with something that was fun, that I enjoy. But guess what? It's also exercise. So for me, it's a win-win, right? So again, when passion fades, when it's all pressure and no play, then it's so much easier to give up. So I want you to bring fun back into your process, whatever it is that you're working on. Oh, it's called Naughty Girl Fitness. Let me see if I could type it in here. It's so good. I love it. I love it so much. Okay. So some examples of things that you can do is that while you're working on that goal, let's say that you are working on a PhD, I don't know, or a master's degree, where you have to do all this work, right? Why don't you play your favorite playlist while you're working on it, right? Or why don't you reward yourself after showing up? Or if it's your exercise, play some music while you're exercising, right? Have your favorite playlist on while you're exercising. Or if you're trying to create a routine at night where it's all about mental health and it's all about winding down and being able to get that good night's rest, why don't you do your task or do something in a cozy space, right? Or play some music that's very soothing and relaxing, right? So there's so many different ways that we can incorporate something fun, something nice, to not make it seem like a chore, to not make it seem boring and like, oh, here we go, here's another task I have to do today, right? Is this connecting with you guys? Let me know if it makes sense. Okay, so yes, it makes sense. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Nika. So again, passion is something that is renewable. So when you think about energy, there's renewable energy, and then there's like the sparks, right? Spark is like a quick little energy that you get. It's awesome, it's great, and boom, it's gone. As quickly as you see it, is as quickly as it's gone. But passion is something that can fade, but you can bring it back. You can charge it up and you can bring it back, right? But only if you give it oxygen, if you give it life. So I want you to revisit what lights you up, not what drains you, right? So when you think about your goals and when you think about the habits that you're building around it, or what system you're setting up to get it done, right? I want you to think about what is lighting me up and what is draining me. And I want you to focus your energy on what lights you up, not what drains you. So if you trying at a goal and let's say that you weren't able to check one of the tasks on your goals, right? You weren't able to check it this weekend. So now you start thinking and you start doubting yourself and you start going into that like overthinking mindset, and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to be able to do it if I didn't even do task 1, right? Those thoughts are draining you, right? They're not helping you get it done. So I want you to start thinking about when you're working on your goal and when you're doing these steps and building these systems to get yourself there. I want you to start thinking about it. Okay, what about this process is giving me energy and lighting me up, and what about it is draining me? And then I want you to re-establish a plan around that. I want you to really think about it and say, what things are draining me that I don't need to succeed here, right? Because there's no need for you to push yourself to do things that don't feel good for you, right? Nika said, passion can fade, but it can be brought back only if we give it life. That's so good. Yes, thank you. So I want to remind you that these small sparks add up, right? even 10 minutes of aligned action can restart your fire. So all you need is that passion. All you need is that purpose, that why. Why did I want to start this? Why is this important to me? How do I want to feel at the end of this, right? Those reminders, those are all little sparks that are going to help push you forward, right? Thank you so much, guys, for sharing the live, for liking the live. I mean, it's amazing. And thank you for the gifts, too. Okay. So as usual, I always like to have a little homework. And if y'all don't like the word homework, I apologize. It could be like a mini challenge, right? So again, last week we had a homework that I assigned. So you've already built momentum last week, right? So last week, if I remember correctly, I asked you guys to have a small habit, add a small habit to your week to help push you through your goal, right? So for example, if your goal is to build a better system for you to go to bed, right? Like a better routine, bed nighttime routine, that could be taking a hot shower right before bed, right? Or that could be reading a book right before bed. One small thing that you can add to your system that will help you get to that goal, right? So for example, so this week, I want you to keep that small habit that you started going, but I want you to add one layer. So for example, I want you to ask yourself, how does this action reflect the version of me that I'm becoming, right? So for example, what I just said was, I'm sorry, I have my ADHD brain is crazy right now. So basically, if your goal is to build a better nighttime routine and you started reading, right? That's like your way to wind your mind down. You're focusing on that book and only that book. Maybe you can add a layer of it. It could be some soft, soothing music in the background, right? So now I'm reading and I have some soothing instrumentals in my background. So now I have two layers. It doesn't require me to do anything extra. It's just a quick little playlist, boom, press play while I read, right? Something that will help you get to that goal, right? It's something that'll push you closer to that. So again, I want you to ask yourself, how does this action reflect the version of me that I'm becoming? And then I want you to write down one word that comes up, right? It could be grounded, consistent, or confident. And then by the end of the week, you'll have 7 words, a reflection of your growth in motion. So every day, at the end of whatever you're doing, just one word. It'll only take you 10 seconds to write that word down, right? So I want you to reflect on that new habit that you're building or that new action that you're taking and write one word that comes up for you. So for me, for example, I exercised today, right? So maybe today the word for me can be consistent, and that'll be my word for today, right? And then at the end of my 7 days, I don't work out 7 days a week. I'm going to tell you all that right now. But at least 4, I'll have 4 words by the end of the week that I can associate with my growth in motion for that, right? Does that make sense to everyone? Let me know if I need to clarify that. Sometimes the words just come out, a lot of words, so I apologize. Oh my God, Jovi, you sent a glowing jellyfish? I didn't see it. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, though. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Nico, for that. Okay, awesome. So now that we've kind of come to a close for tonight, I want you guys to drop one word that describes how you want to feel this week as you keep going in your goals and in your habits. Thank you so much, Nika. So drop one word below that describes how you want to feel this week. Oh, I love that, Tanishka. I love that. That's a good one. Proud. I love that so much. Oh, Nika, yes. This week I want to feel productive. Mama said I have a war room in my closet where I pray and connect with God. It works wonders. So maybe your word, Mama, can be prayer. I love that. Or connected. You want to feel connected to God. Yes, I love that. What word do I want to see? I want to feel strong. I want to feel stronger. Because I'm thinking about my goal, right? I'm thinking about my goal. And I think that's gonna be it for this week with the fitness journey. Oh, abuela, decisive. I love that. I love that. Nika said strong. That's a good one. Mama said connected and strong. Yep. Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for coming tonight. And of course, I have my workshop coming up, so I will not be doing like the regular weekly lives next week or the following week. I'm going to be focusing on my 2-part reset workshop that's going to take place on this Thursday, the 23rd, and next Thursday, the 30th. Right now, I still have my 50% discount until tomorrow. So if you haven't signed up yet, go ahead and sign up. The link is in my bio. And I'm really excited to see you guys over there. But anyway, oh, Kiara said accomplished is her word. I love that. Chichi, I love that word. Okay. So again, thank you guys so much for everything. If you haven't already, check out my workshop. It's in my bio. And I hope to see you guys there. Thank you so much. Thanks, Tanishka. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great night. Nika, I'm probably going to see you in a little bit because we have a call coming up. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for sharing it. All the gifts. I truly appreciate you guys. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye, y'all.